Hey, good afternoon, fifth grade. The video today is going to be on assignment 0807, which our learning targets is that I'll be able to compare the size of a product to the size of one factor based on the size of the other factor. Another is I can explain why multiplying a number by a fraction greater than 1 results in a product greater than the number. And one more is I can explain why multiplying a number by a fraction less than 1 results in a product that's less than one number. So I know that all sounds a little bit complicated, but actually this standard is not that complicated at all. And I'll show you when I switch over to my hover cam. So I'll share my screen. And I have some problems here. Okay. I have 6 problems here on my hover cam. I have 10 times 1, 10 times 1/2, 10 times 1 and 1/2, 20 times 1, 20 times 1/2, and 20 times 1 1/2. Okay, so probably the easiest one for y'all is going to be 10 times 1. So if I get 10 times 1, I know that equals 10, which is equal, 10 is equal to the factor of 10. I know I can multiply. If one of my factors is 1, my product's going to be the other factor, because any number times 1 is itself. Okay, so now I have 10 times 1/2. Well, what's half of 10? Half of 10 is 5. So I know that if I multiply, if one of my factors is half or less than 1, then it's going to be less than 10, which is the other factor. Now, if I multiply it 10 times 1 and 1/2, well, I know 10 times 1 is 10, and I know 10 times 1/2 is 5, so I would add those together and it would get 15. And then I know that 15 is greater than the other factor of 10. Okay, so there's a pattern here. When I multiply 10 times 1, it's going to equal my other factor, which is 10. I multiply 10 times 1/2, then my answer is going to be less than my other factor. It's going to be less than 10, because I'm multiplying by a number less than 1. If I multiply my 10 times the number greater than 1, like 1 and 1/2, then my answer is going to be greater than the other factor. So 15 is actually greater than 10. We know that. And let's use that same reasoning with the number 20. Okay. So 20 times 1 obviously is 20. So it is 20 is equal to the other factor of 20. 20 times 1/2, well, I should already know that it's less than 1. 1/2 is less than 1. So if I multiply 20 by a factor less than 1, then my answer should be less than the other factor of 20. Well, what's half of 20? 10. Is 10 less than the other factor? Yes, it's less than the other factor. And then our last example is 20 times 1 1/2. Well, again, if I have 20 times 1 is 10, 20 times 20 times 1 is 20, 20 times 1/2 is 10, well, 20 times 1 1/2 then would be 30, and 30 is greater than the other factor of 20. Okay? So once we get the hang of doing this, we're not even going to have to know our answers because we're basically just looking at our other factors to see if it's less than 1, equal to 1, or greater than 1. I have 3 problems that I want to show you today. I have 3 of them, and I want to cover up my answers here, so I don't want to show you the answers. Okay? So, I have 10 times 3/4. Well, let's look at 3/4. Is 3/4 equal to 1? No. Is 3/4 greater than 1? No. Is 3/4 less than 1? Yes, it is. So my product should be less than 10. So is it less than, greater than, or equal to? It would be less than. So less than is the correct answer. Okay? In our second problem, we have 1 1/4 times 25,351. Is 1 1/4 greater than 1, less than 1, or equal to 1? Well, this has a 1 plus a fraction, so it has to be greater than 1. So is our product going to be less than, greater than, or equal to 25,351? Hopefully you'll say it's greater because we're multiplying it by a factor that's greater than 1. And our last example, I have 4,788 times 7/8. Is our product going to be less than, greater than, or equal to 4,788? Well, again, we're looking at 7/8. Is 7/8 less than 1, equal to 1, or greater than 1? Hopefully you'll say 7/8 is less than 1, because I know 8/8 is equal to 1. So 7/8 would be less than 1. So our product should be then less than 4,788. And I'm going to add one more to it. I'm going to have the number 405 times 5/5. So I'm going to say, is it less than, greater than, or equal to 405? Okay. Well, now we got to look at 5/5. Is 5/5 less than 1, equal to 1, or greater than 1? Hopefully you'll say that 5/5 is equal to 1. So our answer then should be equal. So this is all that standard is asking us to do in our learning target. So if we go back to see our learning target that we started out this with, it is I can compare the size of a product to the size of one of the factor based on the other size of the factor. So what we did is we compared 2 different factors. And we looked at one factor to see if it was greater than, less than, or equal to 1. That's all that standard was telling us. That's all that learning target. Okay? So the second one says I can explain why multiplying a number by a fraction greater than 1 results in a product greater than 1. So if I had 20 or the number 10, and I was multiplying it by 1.5, our product then was greater than the 10 or the 20 because that product was greater, that fraction was greater than 1. And our last learning target was I can explain why multiplying a number by a fraction less than 1 results in a product less than that number. So in those same examples that we started out with this morning, or earlier in this lesson, I had 10 and 20 multiplying it by a half. Well, anytime I multiply another factor by a factor less than 1, such as a half, my product is going to be less than that other factor. So when I multiplied 10 times 1/2, I had 5, and 5 is less than 10. Or when I multiplied 20 times 1/2, our product was 20, our product was 10, and 10 is less than 20. So hopefully we've mastered those three key learning targets. So this is assignment 0807, and it requires you to do a multiple choice quiz at the end. There's 10 questions, and good luck on those. And if you need to watch this YouTube video several times, watch it as often as you need, and have a great day.